Hello my friends, some interesting news. We have -1 more Russian general. His name was Davydov. Yeah, Davydov, a classical Russian surname. Don't look at me like that. No. Well, anyways, he was responsible for the Russian supplies, for the supplies of the munition to the Russian army. Remember this classical Shoigu Gerasimov, where is munition? Well, probably Davydov knew the answer to that question. And you may wonder, where was he cancelled? Maybe he is a brave Russian general who supported his soldiers somewhere close to the front lines, coordinating efforts of the Russian logistics by the time Ukraine hit them very, very hard. No, he actually lost his life in the most dangerous city for the Russian generals. The capital city of Russia, Moscow, yes. And here is his BMW. This is X3 from what I see, and it was kaboomed on the way. There was the special device mounted just under the driver's seat, and General himself was driving his car. So no paid driver was hired, and we have more confirmation that the General definitely was responsible for the supplies of artillery shells and rocket artillery munition. So kind of the unique niche for the Russian army, nevertheless very important. And so far we are out of clue whether it was the internal confrontation within the Russian Defense Ministry, or maybe it was Ukrainian trace. Yeah, of course, Russian officials, they would say that it's Ukrainian SBU, military intelligence, something else. Well, before Ukrainian intelligence already took responsibility of canceling some of the Russian generals in Moscow, maybe it will happen also this time. We'll need to monitor the official statements of Ukrainian officials, military first of all. And here we have pictures from the different perspective. Firefighters were called, but it was too late. Yeah, Ukraine put the heating device for the cabin of the car, special device that makes the car a little bit more warm. Allegedly Ukraine. So far, as I told you, we don't know. And guys, I don't have any sort of the sorrow about that guy, because he is the Russian general, he works for the Russian war crime machine, and they're destroying Ukrainian cities, Ukrainian towns, Ukrainian villages, Ukrainians themselves, households, absolutely everything. They use aviation gliding bombs and rocket artillery. Just for you to understand, in Kherson, rocket artillery was fired to the playground the last week, and the image that I saw there, how family was unalived and a small girl, she got terribly wounded and her eye went out. Sadly, the video that I watched was without any sort of the blur, and guys, I was in a freaking depression for several days. I'm telling you, this is like, I got used to the war already for all of those years, but you cannot get used to the children suffering. And if the Russian generals who are in charge of everything of that, if they're being cancelled, those are absolutely great news. And not a pity sorrow. I would have a sorrow for Mosquito maybe, more than for that Russian general. And I just told you why, so whoever done it, good job. And absolutely no hate here, just the war criminal got what he deserved. My friends, just a usual reminder for you, please press like to this video just right now while you're watching it, and also subscribe for the channel, and please check out your subscriptions, because YouTube may unsubscribe you for whatever reason. And if you can, you may support my job on Patreon or membership of the channel. You're awesome, you're the best, and let's continue with the video. And one more car was kaboomed in the central part of Moscow, but this time the device didn't explode that much, so we are out of clue who was inside so far. It's now the secret of police, we'll see it later on. But the general that was kaboomed today, he was cancelled at the same street of aviators, where the previous general several months ago was cancelled too. Which means that they live very close together, and maybe Defense Ministry of Russian Federation gave them apartments in the same block. Here I start to think about FP9. Well, not just the Russian supply generals were hit, but also some of the Russian ships. Oh my god, there is the fire on board. Just look at this. This is huge. And the Ukrainian FP2 drones, they are capable to carry more than 200 kilograms of TNT already. And this is aiming equipment, I guess even not for FP2 or FP1, it could be something different. You have the artificial horizon bank angle indicator, attitude indicator, like the standard classical PFD, primary flight control display, which I also get used to on Boeing 737. Well, here it's a little different, but the idea is the same. Yeah, if we speak about indication, but not about the control, and you see that at least 2 of the times this particular ship was hit. The ship was the Project 10-410 of the Russian Army Svetla class patrol ship, but it is capable to carry some of the boats and light munition. It was used as the patrol ship to protect the Kerch Bridge, and it sustained absolutely enormous damages. You saw the fire, so this part is gone completely, and it is absolutely no-go. It will not go down to Bikini Bottom, but the fire destroyed the ship, I am sure about it. So several times a month, Ukraine aims towards the Russian ships quite successfully. Many of them were hit, smaller boats, bigger boats, even in the Baltic Sea, not only in the Black Sea. Well, that's great that those strikes are happening, and maybe Ukraine is on the way to cut the Kerch Bridge connection. We'll see in the coming few months. And what is this? This is the Dagestani city of Kyzylyrt. A new portal to hell was opened by some of the drones. Well, actually, that's the gas pipeline that was opened and kaboomed. Yeah, it's like that. And how to eliminate this fire? Well, Russia has to close the gas supplies completely. That is what they hesitate to do for the last several hours, because the fire is still there. And that's the only option to eliminate it, yeah. Yeah, it looks epic. Ukrainian drones are visiting Russian infrastructure in Caucasus very, very frequently. And we have the satellite image from Novorossiysk oil storage. This is Grushevka, I think it's the name of this storage. Multiple of the tanks there, and at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tanks are gone. Well, those in the northern side, I would say they're damaged, but they're not usable. Also, allegedly, there was the strike on the pipeline itself near the train station. Well, Ukraine, I guess, may visit this facility once again, as it did, for example, in Tuapse. There were 4 of the strikes, and we'll see, maybe even this night. It depends also on the Russian actions. If Russia launches drones to hit Ukraine, Ukraine will respond on the Russian oil infrastructure. And Russia actually today already sent several of the drones to hit capital city of Kiev, but all of those drones were intercepted by Ukraine. So the next night, I guess, also could be very interesting. And Zelensky promised to Russia around 650 UAVs per day if they don't want to stop the war in Ukraine, plus missiles, and Zelensky told that Russia will feel absolutely the same thing what Ukrainians feel after the Russian full-scale intervention or full-scale war, is better to say, to Ukrainian territory. If Russia hits Ukrainian cities from the day one, Ukraine has the right to respond in a similar way. But Ukraine mostly aims towards the Russian infrastructure, not to civilian buildings. And judging on those Magyar published videos, and he does it very frequently, almost every day we have more and more videos of how Ukraine demolishes, for example, substations on occupied territories. So Ukraine creates this buffer zone for Russians, and not for just supplies, but for operation in general. So in winter time, in those occupied regions of Ukraine, kind of the close to the front line and further away, within at least 50 of the kilometers, there's gonna be a kill zone, like literally, nothing would work. And Russians are panicking about it. I took it from their analysis on their channels. They shared those pictures and tell that during the winter time, especially winter campaign of 2026-2027, they're gonna suffer a lot. And yet there are no doubts that the war will continue after 2026, sadly. As Zelensky says, there are different people in Putin's circle. Half of them want to continue this war and half want to stop it. Businessmen understand that the Russian economy is in a terrible state. If Western countries, Europe, Canada and the United States do not lift sanctions, increase pressure on Russian shadow fleet and other sectors, and Ukraine remains strong on the battlefield, we will be closer to peace. And I understand that. Ukraine actually, with this letter, Zelensky personally, he showed to everyone that Ukraine is open for negotiations for the peace deal with Russia, and it's only up to Putin to decide whether he wants to cease fire and freeze the war at least or not. And it seems like he is willing to continue, because I think he misunderstands, after all, the situation on the front lines. So Zelensky told businessmen who came to deliver a message about the potential framework of diplomatic negotiations, "We're ready to talk, but will not give up our territory." And that is what Zelensky told to Abramovich, that Ukraine will not withdraw the forces voluntarily from Donbass, and Putin has to take Donbass with its military force, basically mid-grinder what is happening there with Russian infiltration attacks that are now under the question because Ukraine hits Russian logistics. Well, about the Russian logistics, I'm gonna publish a separate video. It will be the next one, because I want to present you the deep analysis of what particularly they're happening with all of the roads, situation on the map and so on, and the future perspectives for Ukraine and for Russia. But for now it's like that, the war of attrition for Russia, it brings not the benefits, but Russian economy definitely deteriorates, and Russian businessmen, they're complaining about it. For example, this guy says that he visited St. Petersburg Economic Forum, and he says that it was the discussion between elite business, and we all understand what is happening, he says, but who controls our airplane? They don't know. So we are like in this passenger jet, which is malfunctioning, it's going down, and we discuss like what to do, what we should do, but we are unable to do because the door to the cockpit is blocked, it's bulletproof, and we cannot enter, and it's impossible to change the direction of the disaster of the country, and there is the pilot in the cockpit whose name is Putin, and he drives us down. Well, he didn't mention Putin personally, but it was understandable from his speech. And just a brief information from the Middle East, the United States lost Apache helicopter several days ago. There was the search and rescue operation, it was done successfully, so both of the crew members were evacuated. But today Donald Trump has confirmed that the helicopter was shot down by Iranian drone. Some sources like CNN report that it was Iranian Shahid drone, and they think maybe it was not intentional or intentional, they are not sure. But Shahid drone hitting helicopter, Shahid drones are used for the ground target. I think it's physically impossible to deliberately shut down helicopter with Shahid. It could be more maneuverable smaller drone, yes, or drone interceptor, of course. But Shahid, this flying cow, no, it's not possible. So maybe it was a mid-air collision, but judging on the current intensity of the strikes, well, Iran, they send sometimes those drones, but not too much. So the probability is quite low. Or maybe Apaches were used to shut down those Shahid drones, and Apache was kind of close to the drone, and it received the shrapnel to its body, and there was the forced landing to the sea. I'm not sure, but it could be. That's what Donald Trump wrote on his Truth Social. I have just been informed by our great military that last night the Iranians shot down one of our highly sophisticated Apache helicopters while patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz. There were 2 pilots involved. Both are safe and uninjured. Nevertheless, the United States must, of necessity, respond to this attack. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Trump. Okay, so he confirmed that Iranians shot down helicopter. And you know, guys, when I saw this video the last month, this is a legit one. So several of the Apache helicopters were patrolling somewhere near the Strait of Hormuz. You may see lots of the tankers which are unable to go and leave the strait. And you know why? There is the danger from Iran. It launches projectiles to hit those commercial vessels. But it is dangerous not just for the ships, but also for helicopters. And then I saw this show-off video, just okay. I guess Pete Hexet is the author of this mission. They just sent some of the helicopters to make this video. It was back then, so maybe it was one more mission like that, and the helicopter after all was shut down. Which means risking American soldiers' lives for no reason at all. Well, that entire war is just a big mess. Alright, my friends, it's all what I want to say in this video, and please support my job on Patreon. The link for it is in the video description right below, or join membership of YouTube channel by pressing button join. You're awesome, you're the best, and because of your support, my job is possible. My friends, also don't forget to press a like to this video and subscribe for the channel. It also helps a lot. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.